Hey there, welcome to the channel or welcome back. I'm Angela and today I'm sharing with you what's going on in my garden this week. If that sounds interesting, stay tuned. If I'm being honest with you, I would have to say that I haven't really done too much in the garden this week. Our weather has gotten better, but we're still having cool nights, so I'm still holding off on getting like my peppers in and eggplants. But other than that, we can take a look at everything that's already in and see how everything's doing. Potatoes, gosh, they're going like gangbusters. And I just hope that healthy growth and healthy plants along the top means that there's healthy tubers going on underneath, but we'll have to see. We're waiting. They look good though. And I've got a few more over here. One of the reasons that I decided to kind of go all in on potatoes this year is that I find myself eating a lot of potatoes in the past year or two. So I'm doing 3 different varieties. These are called Huckleberry Gold. So I think I have 6 large grow bags, like the 20-gallon size grow bags. And the one that I have the most of are Caribou Russet. So I do have, quite a few of those. I forget how many bags, maybe 22 bags here. They are the smaller size bags, but still, that's a lot. It adds up. And then these are called, in these 4 grow bags here, Norland Red. So some red potatoes. And I am trying to grow these more in the shredded leaves. There is a layer of soil on the bottom though that I press the seed potatoes into. This is the way I grew them a couple years ago and they did well, but I forgot about that way of growing them and did all of these just in soil, and it's not even like sandy soil, so I'm kind of hoping that they do okay. Like I mentioned up top, they're doing really, really good. So we'll see. And taking a look at my tomato plants, they're doing okay. I had some, doubts. They were looking pretty bad, but I think whatever was going on, getting them out here in the bigger planting containers with some fertilizer, slow release fertilizer, is doing them some good, although they do still seem a little bit stunted. And these over here are doing much better. Still small, but it's okay. We're having some really cold weather, like lingering, like we're actually getting a long spring this year, which is kind of nice as far as comfort level. Although as a gardener, I want it to get hot. Got radishes, those are doing great, and beets. This bed is getting really weedy and I'm gonna have to devote some time to weeding it here very soon. And my onions are there. This is most of them. I gotta find my dog, hang on a sec. He was off wandering. And then the rest of the onions. These I got in a little bit later, so they're not quite as robust yet, but they're still doing pretty good. And there's squash that I've seeded here. It hasn't come up yet. Now I'm worried that I seeded too soon because it's so cool out. Let's veer over here to my oak leaf hydrangeas. They're doing really good. I think that I've got 4 of them along here. I think they're going to do really well here. They do get sun in the late afternoon, but it's not like overbearing, so I think that's just perfect for a hydrangea. So far so good. And that's about it for now. Garlic that I got in last fall is doing like growing like gangbusters. That looks good. I can't wait to harvest that. In case you're wondering what I've got going on here along the edge of a lot of my beds and that I'm trying to propagate, this is a variety of Sedum. So what my thought is with this, it spreads prolifically and it gets these little yellow flowers on it in the summer that draw in the bees, the little small bees. But it looks nicer than having like all the weeds kind of growing up along. For instance, there's some weeds there. So my goal is to just have like a ring of this around all of my beds, and it just looks nicer. And like I mentioned, does draw in the pollinators a little bit. There's a little bunch of it there. And I started out doing this several years back around these two beds, and you can kind of see how much it's spread, and I have to every year kind of thin that out. But what I do is grab little pieces of it and then just kind of stick it all around the edges of the beds, and it's so tenacious that I don't even have to plant it. I just grab little handfuls, even if it doesn't have a root on it, and just kind of tuck it in under the edge of the other beds, and it'll take hold and start to spread. But even still, like, I do get weeds that kind of come up in between and have to thin it out, but it's not as bad as it used to be with just junky looking. Like, for example, all down here, I've got some of the sedum along here, but then it needs a lot of cleanup work. I feel like this is less maintenance and it looks nicer, and it draws in the pollinators, so that's why I do that. While I have you out here, take a look at my little bed here. I'm getting this bed going with perennials and shrubs, and a lot of these are not native plants, but I am trying to, as I add more to fill this in, use native plants just to bring in a lot of the pollinators and do something good for, the little critters. And then these are all my seedlings that I still have left to plant. There's a few like scraggly tomatoes, and I'm hoping I haven't waited too long. And then I've got a lot of peppers, which are doing good. And every time I think I'm going to be able to get those planted, we get cold forecasted. Like, there's going to be, I think tomorrow night, Thursday night, it's predicted to get to 42, which is too cold for peppers in my experience, but I've got a lot of them to go in, but we'll get there. Look at this. It's a red Prince Weigela. So pretty. And I'm going to be out of town for a wedding of a good friend of ours. His daughter's getting married. So that'll kind of take up the latter part of my week. I'll be back by the time you guys see this. But between that and other things going on, I really haven't spent too much time out here. This may be as long as this video gets. If I'm out here any more this week, I'll put those clips in. Otherwise, I'll go ahead and say goodbye right now.